Good morning and welcome to the Wake Up Call. My name is Kirby Wright, and it's time to get this call kicked off. So it's my honor to introduce our guest speaker here, the lady that started this several years ago, about 10 years ago. Saw a book on my desk and decided it would be good to start a 15-minute wake-up call in the morning to get everybody started with a little bit of inspiration. So we're doing that 5 days a week. Appreciate you dialing in today. So with that, I'm going to hand the call over to my wife, Miss Cindy Wright.
All right. Well, thanks, Kirby, and hello, everyone, and welcome to the wake-up call. It is Thursday. We are on Chapter 10 in the book Little Things Matter by Todd Smith, and this one is a really, really, really good topic for many, many people, I guess pretty much anybody. It's called Stretch Your Comfort Zone, one of my favorite topics to talk on whenever I train. He says people are hardwired to search for comfort. Therefore, much of daily life is centered on familiar patterns and habits. While operating in your comfort zone feels good, you are not going to advance your life forward unless you have the courage to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Think about it. Your comfort zone is where everything feels familiar, safe, and secure, where you know what to expect and where you are content with the status quo. How can you reach greater heights personally and professionally if you aren't stretching yourself and growing on a regular basis? Best-selling author Brian Tracy said, move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you're willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. Dennis Waitley, another best-selling author, he said, to achieve your dreams, you must break out of your comfort zone and become comfortable with the unfamiliar and the unknown. It is time to get uncomfortable, he says. Let's begin by doing some self-evaluating. Do you avoid doing things you know you should do because they make you feel anxious and awkward, nervous, or fearful? Think about that. What are they? What are those things making you feel that way? Contemplate how your life could change if you ventured into the discomfort zone. Would you feel better about yourself? Would you become more respected by your peers and colleagues? Would you have more self-confidence? Your first step on the road to greater achievement, focus on the little things you know you should do, but you don't feel at ease doing them. If you push yourself to do the little things that thrust you outside your comfort zone, your confidence will begin to grow. As you build your self-confidence in doing the little things, you slowly build your confidence to do the bigger things. It works this way for all of us. We start one step at a time building our confidence by successfully completing smaller tasks first. An experience my son Jake had is a perfect illustration. Jake's first job was a bagger at a local grocery store, and Jake was an introvert. He was especially shy around strangers. One day I challenged him to start being friendly to the customers whose groceries he bagged. The first day he talked to 2 customers, the next day 5, the next day 10, and by the 6th day he had talked to 50 people. Each day Jake told me about his results, and I could sense his confidence was growing. One day, a head cashier told him he was very good with people, a compliment he thought he would never hear anyone say. Like Jake, when you first step outside your comfort zone, you're likely to feel nervous and perhaps even fearful. But unless you are doing something dangerous or risky, nothing bad is going to happen to you. To the contrary, that knot in your stomach is the signal that growth and opportunity lay ahead. So feel the fear and do it anyway, Dale Carnegie said. Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing it. That is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. His challenge he gives us today is identify one of the little things in this book where your growth has been limited because you have remained in your comfort zone. Start in just one area, and as you build confidence in the first one, select a few more little things where you can break down your barriers and improve. Then fire yourself up and do it without further hesitation. And y'all, I'm telling you, this applies to, it doesn't matter what industry you are in. You got to get out of your comfort zone to ever grow in anything. And that's one of the things I always have taught and trained on. You got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So if you've got something that, like, say, speaking in front of people, if that makes you uncomfortable, well, you're going to have to get uncomfortable with it in order to ever get comfortable with it. And it just takes practice. It takes getting up there and doing it whether you want to or not. And it really you have to know, hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, that's really what you kind of have to think. What's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, going up and talking to a stranger, I used to always be very uncomfortable, like when I would go to those, they're like leads groups where you go and you got to introduce yourself and tell about your product or service and in front of everybody just staring at you. And I used to just feel so uncomfortable doing that little thing by just getting up and stating my name and what I did. You know, it's like a 15-second thing. And but it just took going to more and more of those to get comfortable doing it. And so I'll give it to you, Kirby, for your thoughts.
All right. Thank you, Cindy. Good job. And this particular topic is, to me, kind of counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense because we're creatures of habit and we'd like to be in that comfort zone. But I learned early on, years ago, from a mentor that in order to grow my check, in order to grow my business, I had to grow myself. So that has been my goal for a long time now, to become a better person and help other people to do the same thing. And that's really kind of what we're doing with this wake-up call. So this, Cindy talked about being uncomfortable with public speaking. That was my biggest fear for the longest time. And years ago, I was pretty fresh out of college, if I recall. I took a Dale Carnegie course, Effective Speaking and Human Relations, thinking, okay, this will get me out of that and I'll be better. So the very first day that we were there, all we had to do was stand up from the room and announce, say, I'm Kirby Wright, I'm from Tennessee or whatever. That was about it. Just name and where you're from. And I forgot my name. I couldn't even get my name out. I was so nervous standing in front of a group of about 15 people. So, but from there, I continued to push out of my comfort zone and later became much more comfortable standing in front of a group of people saying what I felt like I needed to say at the time. So it is a challenge, and the only way to expand your comfort zone, because your comfort zone can get bigger and you can be more comfortable with more things, assuming that you stretch your comfort zone, you get out of your comfort zone, you do these uncomfortable things, and your comfort zone will grow. So then next time that you do it, for me, as the example of public speaking, the next time I do that, I'm more comfortable with it. It's more in my comfort zone. And it's a never-ending thing. I mean, we're never completely comfortable. If we are comfortable, then we're not growing. Okay, so if you're comfortable and everything's good, then you probably need to look at your life and look at your daily activities to make sure that you can do something that's going to stretch your comfort zone, get out of that comfort zone, get uncomfortable in order to grow. So with that, Cindy, I'll hand it back to you for some final comments.
Kirby is a great example of this for sure, because he really was more of like a introverted type of person when we got married. And so getting into business and having starting our own business and him having to stretch to get uncomfortable, he had to do it a lot. And because I was pushing him out there because I didn't want to do it. And, it was like we had a home meeting like in 1990, and we had 3 people there. We had one guest and me and one of my friends and Kirby. And we're like, who's going to do the meeting? Who's going to do it? Literally it was one person. And we're like, Kirby, you got to do it. You got to do it. And so he stood up there in our living room and literally was sweating profusely. He was so nervous, sweating. He got done and he walked into another room, and I looked at my girlfriend. I said, what are we going to do? He's bad. And she said, I know. So, any of you have heard Kirby speak in the last 15 years, you know how good he is and how much he has overcome after you hear that story. So he has definitely stretched out of his comfort zone in many, many areas of his life. The last thing that Todd Smith says in this chapter is, the periods in life when you experience the greatest growth and advancement are when you do what you have never done, go where you have never gone, push yourself harder than ever before, and do what's uncomfortable. You know, when I was probably, I don't even know, maybe I wasn't even 30 yet, and I had never taken a trip by myself. I'd always gone with Kirby. And Kristen was maybe 3 years old, and we decided she and I were going to go on an airplane, and we were flying to Asheville, North Carolina. Well, it was only like a 3-hour drive, so it was crazy. We were flying from Atlanta. So anyway, but it was something I had never done. I'm like, I've got to do this. I've got to go get on an airplane, fly myself, rent my own car, find my own way to this hotel we were staying at, do my own thing. And this was before we had cell phones. We didn't have a map telling us how to get anywhere, anything like that. But that was a big stretch for me, but I knew I had to do it. If I was going to grow myself, I had to do something that I was uncomfortable with. So anyway, I succeeded, and, you know, we made it home okay, and Kirby was waiting on me at the gate, you know. That was back when you could go to the gate and meet your party. But anyway, so I just encourage y'all today, think about something that you're really uncomfortable with, and just go do it. Just try it. Just try something little and see how it makes you feel, because I guarantee it's going to make you feel good about yourself. So thanks so much for dialing in this morning. I'll let you close out, Kirby.
All right, be like Jake the Bagger and say something to somebody for the first time today. Just like Cindy said, take that challenge and identify something in your life that you know you need to do, but you're kind of holding back because you're a bit uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right. You don't feel very confident about it, but just go do it. It's just like Jake the Bagger. You know, soon he was talking to 50 people a day or whatever it was, but that's how you grow. That's how you stretch. So set a stretch goal. Maybe it's a little one today. Maybe it's a little bigger one tomorrow. Maybe it grows each day. But be aware of this and just recognize as you go through the day, if you're going through the day and everything's great and wonderful and there's no challenges, you're probably not pushing hard enough, because that's just not the way life is. If we stay in our comfort zone forever, we're not going to grow. And as I said earlier in the call, my goal is to become a better person and help other people to do the same thing. I hope you will accept that challenge and do the same. So you see if you can grow yourself a little bit today, stepping out of that comfort zone, and then maybe you can pay it forward to somebody else later and help them to do the same thing. So with that, let me unmute these lines, and we will say goodbye.
Wonderful, Todd. Thank you for being so open.
Thanks for dialing in today, guys. Have a great day.
Great word.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.